Welcome to Factors. This video is going to be on a battery relocation for the e8x. So one of the other things I've done is I've blanked the rear wiper and have also cut out as much of the rear boot lid. So been going through and thinning out the wiring, and also everyone that knows that that's usually where the battery sits, and obviously that has been cut out. We're going to reinstall a aluminium plate in there. So, been relocating the battery. So, I say so a lot. The wiring comes in through the bulkhead and follows this line down, and then comes to here. This is for the electronic power steering, and that is not going in because the steering rack from a e92 M3 will be going in. So we're getting rid of the electronic steering rack, and we're going to put in place a hydraulic one, which is much, in my opinion, going to be much more responsive and give a better driving feel. Just tuck those out of the way. So from this point, this is where the wiring's going to be rerouted, well, it already has been. So that's where it would go, hence why all the cables have been stripped of all their covering, and this is where the cable's going now. Obviously that looks like a bit of a mess. That's going to get neatened up. All the cables are going to get shortened, cut to length, but for now I need to make a battery tray that's going to hold onto that battery nice and tight. With relocating the battery is the cables that go under the car. So these two cables go through here, and then they run the length of the car down the main supports, and then if we just go back to the back of the car, that's where they come out. I've cut them off, and once the subframe comes out, I will chase them back to the front of the car. And my thinking, I'm not 100% set on this yet, but I'm thinking this right here is the mount for those cables. So they come through there, go up to this point here. So what I'm thinking of doing is, it's going to be tight and it's probably not going to be easy, but I'm going to chase those cables and try and get them through the bulkhead to then run down the side of the car where the rest of the cables run. This is the current state of the car on the front. Needs a bit of cleaning up. I need to chase out a few wires. So I've been thinning out and getting rid of some of the wires. So one thing I did notice was there was a couple of wires that had a bit of damage to them, which isn't too much of a problem because that right there is the cable for the air conditioning, and this is going to be a non-air conditioning car, so I'm not going to run any AC in here, and I'm going to do that for two reasons. Firstly, I'm going to allow the fresh air to go straight into the radiator and improve cooling, because on these M57s, especially when you have them tuned, cooling them is a bit of an issue. So I'm going to have the air go straight through the radiator and not go through the air conditioning condenser first. And then secondly, it also takes something off the engine, takes a bit of weight out the front end, which when you put in an M57 in such a short wheelbase car, weight distribution is going to be a factor that you need to take into account. So save a little bit of weight on the front end, get a little bit extra cooling into the engine, and also we're in England, which the times that you actually need to use air conditioning is probably once or twice a year, especially now this is summer apparently. But anyway, we digress. I did a drawing and then I made the drawing out of metal. Let me just quickly explain what I'm doing here. This is going to be the battery tray to hold the battery into the car. This is going to sit behind the passenger seat, and this is going to get bolted through the floor, fixing this to the shell, and then this will get welded onto this base. So that battery fits snugly in here, and that is then, we're also going to put a strap around here, and then in the case of excessive movement of the car, let's say, this battery will hold nice and tight in the cradle, which will stay attached to the floor of the 1 Series.